Good day, my scholars. Welcome to my school channel. My name is Alexandra. So in today's video, we'll be looking at a very interesting topic, which is the concept of a sentence. And this topic is under sentence building, still under English grammar. Please stay with us, not go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school channel. So in this video lesson, we'll be looking at the concept of a sentence. Okay, so this topic is under a larger concept, which is sentence building. So under sentence building, we have sentence and we have various other terminologies we'll be looking at. So today we'll be looking at the concept of sentence. So I've outlined 3 objectives for today's lesson, and they include: number 1, the meaning of a sentence; number 2, the grammatical hierarchy; number 3, the sentence component. So at the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to discuss these 3 things. Now, before we begin the lesson, I would like to explain a terminology called predicate. This terminology will be useful for number 1 objective. Now, what is a predicate? I'm going to use an example to illustrate this. When I say Biola is a farmer. Now, this is the doer of the action, which is the subject. The rest of the sentence is called the predicate. So your predicate is everything other than the subject. Okay, so everything other than the subject is called the predicate. So I just need you to understand what the predicate is before we proceed to objective 1. Now, the verb here is called the predicator. So the verb here in isolation is called the predicator in the sentence, but then anything other than the subject in the sentence is called the predicate. Now, having established that, let us move to objective 1. Now, under objective 1, we'll be looking at some scholars' definition of sentence, what some scholars have said as regards to what a sentence is, or how they define sentence. Now, let's move on to the visuals to see some of these definitions. Now, a scholar has defined sentence as a group of words containing at least a predicator. Now, don't not forget we've talked about what a predicate is and a predicator. So, for example, he drank water. Where is the subject? The rest of it is the predicate, and drank is the verb. And because it is the verb, it is called the predicator. So, this scholar says it's a group of words containing at least a predicator. Now, let's take a look at number 2. A sentence is a group of words which expresses a complete thought. So in this sentence, we see that it expresses a complete thought. A complete thought is the important element in this definition. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. A group of words starting with a capital letter and terminating with full stop, a question mark, or an exclamatory mark. So in this scholars define sentence as a group of words starting with a capital letter and terminating with full stop, a question mark, or an exclamatory mark. So the important element in this definition is that has to start with a capital letter and it has to end with any of this punctuation mark. But then this definition is not all encompassing. There are a very good way to describe what a sentence is, but it's not all encompassing. It is not complete. It's not a complete way to define sentence. Take for instance, I say, I will take care of the kids if you want to watch TV. I will take care of the kids if you want to watch TV. In this sentence, we have 2 thoughts. Okay, there are 2 thoughts in this sentence. I will take care of the kids and I will watch TV. But then I've joined them together to make a sentence using the conditional word if. So we see 2 thoughts being expressed in a sentence. So that's why these definitions are not all encompassing. They do not completely define what a sentence is. Let's take a look at this. It says a sentence must start with a capital letter and end with a full stop or a question mark or an exclamation mark. Now, this sentence would only be meaningful when you are writing. So let's take for instance, I have to speak, or it's a speech. How do we know it's a sentence when I have to make a speech. So this definition is only useful when we have to write, when it's in a written form. So it is restricted in a way. Okay, it's very much restricted, and here it says as a list, a predicator. For example, the first example I made, I will take care of the kids if you want to watch TV. We see there's more than one predicator. We have more than one predicator, that's verbs in the sentence, and it's still regarded as one sentence. So all of these definitions are good ways to describe it, but they are not complete in a way. So how then do we describe or define a sentence? Now, the thing is, a sentence is easily illustrated or described rather than being defined. So what I'm trying to say is we cannot get a complete definition of a sentence. We can only illustrate and define. So how do we illustrate? Now let's take a look at this. Now this is the first illustration I'll be using to tell what a sentence is. Now look at this: flowers, the garden, in planted mic. Now when someone walks up to you and say flowers, the garden, and planted mic, it doesn't make sense. Okay, it's not meaningful, it's ungrammatical. But when someone says Mike planted flowers in the garden, this is grammatical. So this is our first illustration to say that a sentence is grammatical and meaningful. So that's a very good way to tell what or describe a sentence. Now let's take a look at the second illustration, but with this second illustration I'll be using the second objectives, which is the grammatical hierarchy. Before we take a look at the next objective, please kindly subscribe to the longer version of this video. All you need to do is you click on the link in the description below. It takes you to the My School website. There you'll be requested to subscribe. Please go ahead and subscribe so you can enjoy the rest of this lesson. Thank you for joining us. Do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.